Watching GEEKCASTER, this is the after show. This is stuff we do, sci-fi, fantasy, all that stuff, and then randomly other stuff that Dayveonne wants to talk about. So I'm Michael Seven Michael, and here I am, and that's Corey.
Dayveonne. Oh, that's Corey.
Okay.
That's Dayveonne.
What's up?
Phoenix. And you're watching GEEKCASTER. So we're here, we're doing it as the after show, and we're going to talk about some things. If you're watching us on Twitch, thank you for rocking with us. You're troopers. We appreciate you. Like us. We're not paying for hits. We're just doing what we do, and hopefully that grows organically, because that's what we do. All right, so someone from Twitch said we should watch Blood and Bone, and I totally agree. And the next show we should talk about it. In fact, there's a bunch of kung fu flicks. Phoenix Sparks, do you watch any martial arts movies? Are you into the fighting, or you're just a lover? What's happening?
I'm a lover. Honestly, I was more into like the older Jackie Chan movies. That's what kind of person I was. Yeah.
I got one for you. It's Shaolin. Now, there's a bunch of movies with that title, but he did one, I believe it's 2011, Shaolin. Yeah. It is amazing. It's great. And there's a lot of little nuances, political nuances, just like personal growth. There's some things in there.
Okay.
The martial arts is good. And one thing I like traditionally is that there are a lot of really strong female characters and fighters in movies, and I like the fact that it is what it is. They don't try to push it. They don't try to make things happen. It just is, and I like that, and I find that like right now with movies, I mean, it's good. There's a lot of representation. Like, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because you want representation, you want all these things, but you don't want to feel like it's forced.
Right.
At least I don't like that. What about you guys? Do you feel the same way, or?
Exactly. Like, you don't want things to be forced into the viewer's eyes. You want everything just to come in smooth and natural, so it doesn't feel like you have an agenda to basically you're trying to push into the audience. So let things flow, besides letting things being forced in. Yeah. And that's how you build up a great audience that loves your product.
Yeah, it's that on-screen chemistry that everyone loves. I think that's why it's such a big breakout year for Tom Holland, because him and Zendaya have that on-screen chemistry.
Exactly.
And off-screen chemistry too.
Yeah. And the funny thing about it, I'm going to let y'all know something. Corey's face when I actually gave that example, he was in shock mode.
Way to put me on blast, sir.
It was obvious your face told everything.
Let it flow. Yeah, and I just want to give a shout out, because we've been doing this for a minute, and we also create content, and here's some here's some photos of some really great cosplayers and some famous people you might know, and so just shout out to all the cosplayers real quick, because you guys don't get enough love, so gotta do that there. But yeah, definitely check that out. Check out Shaolin. You should. I think you'll dig it.
Yeah, definitely.
So. Yeah, try it out, guys.
So,
enjoy it.
Since it's not out yet, and by the time people watch this, it will be out maybe. How you guys feel about the new Batman? Are you excited? Are you
I'm excited.
You're excited?
So,
I'm excited.
I'm excited. Mm-hmm. Especially certain people are kind of spoiling it for me to the point where it's like I have to give the utmost respect to what's his name? Daniel Patrick or Robert Patrick or something?
Robert Pattinson?
Robert Pattinson. I had to get his name correct. I just have to remember. Give me a break. I'm still in that. I don't acknowledge him because of the Twilight phase. Still,
Listen, he was in Harry Potter. He will always be Cedric Diggory. Okay, I'm sorry.
Wow.
but from what people are telling me and what my sources are saying, this is going to be by far the best Batman, even better than the Christopher Nolan trilogy and
Christopher
was
Nolan. Respect his gangsters.
Nolan's
Right.
trilogy. So
Now,
Christopher, yeah.
now, is it just because he's the brutal Batman and he beats people up? Is that the only thing that people? Because people are really excited that he's actually being Batman. Batman's supposed to brutally beat people up. Like he doesn't kill them, but he doesn't shoot, doesn't use a gun. But it's just the violence factor is like, oh, it's so good because it's violent.
Mm-mm. From what I'm hearing from one source, and this is take it with a grain of salt, they are saying that
Spoilers.
okay, they're saying that this type of Batman movie is more focused more on the Batman than it is the Bruce Wayne character.
There's two ways to look at that. That's why Corey's looking up in the sky because it's like,
Yeah,
but
meaning it's going to shed more light more on Batman of his persona than it is his actual counterpart.
well, the problem with all of the Batmans, not all. I said maybe two out of all the 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. They did like 6 films already, or maybe no.
No.
1, 2, 3.
Batman.
They did about like 9, right? Well, anyway,
9.
somewhere around that. Only 2 of them actually focused. The Val Kilmer, they tried to go in the psychology of Batman, but they didn't have enough Batman in that one. And then, but basically all mess it up, basically just because of what you just said. You can't separate the two, because Bruce Wayne, like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to get in psychology of the man that splits himself up in 2, rather than go here and go there. I'm gonna write a Batman movie because I think I know how to do it right. And Corey's gonna be Batman.
Yes.
And who the heck am I going to be?
You're gonna be the Joker, of course, because you do the laugh.
Okay. I'll accept it.
Yeah.
I just can't do
the laugh down packed.
I just can't do it right now.
And so will be Commissioner Gordon.
There we go. Hello.
We need a female Commissioner Gordon because representation. Actually, that would be actually kind of interesting. If
that would be dope.
That would be interesting because they're trying to show they kind of take the same type of dude to do the same. But actually, no. I think this time they're having what's his name be the commissioner, right? One of my favorite actors. Hold on, let me see. This one's called The Batman, right? That's what makes it different.
Correct.
Wow, that's different.
Michael, I'm wondering.
Jeffrey Wright as
yes, I can't wait for him.
Yeah. Jeffrey Wright is amazing, so I'm excited to see what he brings to the table.
His voice.
Farrell. One thing I do think is brilliant with this new Batman is that they're going to the bat signal is a signal that he puts out to let people beware. Hey, I'm watching. You need to get out. That made more sense than, hey, I got a personal calling card to tell you to come. So I thought that was cool. But I hope it's more than, I'm just going to be brutal and crazy, because then you're missing it.
Yep.
Because Batman's not crazy. He's
twisted.
He's twisted. He's not crazy. There's a difference. That's why, if you want to understand Batman, then you have to understand the Joker. And that's why the Joker is his main villain. Because the Joker's not crazy, he's twisted. Bruce Wayne is not crazy, he's twisted. Because no one could be a detective and be that calculated. You know what I mean? Just like Joker. So I think a lot of people that write these films and produce these films are not really fans, because you would get that. You wouldn't make the mistakes that some people are making. And that's just my humble opinion. I mean, you guys might see it differently.
Like, I would see more the Joker being twisted than it is Batman. I think Batman is more in this split personality, like somebody that would be a Two-Face. One day you're a billionaire, the next day you're a crime fighter, vigilante. So just like
Get him,
Harvey
Corey.
Dent, just
Go
like
on.
Harvey Dent. Harvey Dent is a lawyer, but then because of that whole Two-Face aspect, because he flips the coin and one side is all dark and it takes over that. Go ahead, Corey.
Let me think about how I want to say what I want to say. I agree with Michael. You have to have the dual dynamic because he is a tortured soul. This little kid who suffered a lot, and all he knows is torture and pain. But he's a billionaire. And then you have the Batman who wants to just do the right thing for the sake of it being right. However, his methods, we can go all day about that. But like Michael was saying, this is why the dynamic between him and the Joker is so captivating, is because the Joker knows the limits and he's willing to go there. Bruce Wayne knows the limits as Bruce Wayne, but when he's Batman, he can't go beyond those limits because of who he is. It keeps his humanity and his statement.
Is that a fridge or a microwave or? I don't know. Maybe it's just on my end. But sorry about that.
Yeah. So the Joker pushes Bruce Wayne, Batman, to go beyond those limits, and Bruce Wayne cannot go beyond those limits ever. And so you have to have the dualness of Bruce Wayne doing everything that he does for the people of Gotham and Batman doing everything in the shadows for the people of Gotham. It's just the weird dynamic of Batman that he has to have that.
Right.
And
that's what makes the Joker so interesting. And why I say that's a good example to understand him, because Batman hides his face so he can live out the parts that he keeps in the darkness, while the Joker shows his face every chance he gets, so you know it's me, but you can't figure me out. Versus, it's not me. You didn't see what I did. You didn't see what I did. So it's like Bruce Wayne knows what he's doing is wrong. He knows that he should not do things this particular way. You know what I mean? So like you have to be very calculated and very intelligent to do that. So he's not crazy. He's twisted.
Right. Yeah. No, he's crazy. He's crazy, but he's just not insane. Like the Joker.
Not insane. The Joker's not insane, but then Two-Face is totally different, because Two-Face he's a split personality. Like he's splitting like the law, because again he was a lawyer and all that stuff. So,
but we never got Phoenix's point of view.
Yeah, Phoenix, what's happening?
So I'm a big Batman fan. Don't know if you guys know that. So I have a couple different things to say. One, obviously, like talking about the psychology of Batman, you have to understand the psychology of Bruce Wayne, having dead parents and the way that they passed away. I mean, in the name of crime. So, like, real psychology with real people, even though he's a fictional character, we find that people often act out based off of things that happened to them in their childhood, right? So he was completely, had no control, was just a victim in the whirlwind of chaos in this world. So one could look at Batman as the control freak. He's overcompensating for the lack of in his youth. But also, just as Batman evolution as a whole, I think it's really interesting that each film gets, from a personal opinion, darker, moodier, and more intense and more violent, when early Batman was actually kind of silly, right? We had like the Riddler, and it was more of a goofy tone. So I think talking about tone in films, it should be interesting how long that is maintained throughout the evolution. Like how long can they keep up that motif and the newer film is PG-13, so maybe it'll be less brutal. I don't know, but
And you actually, Phoenix, I think that was actually brilliant what you said as far as like the psychology, because he's such a control freak, and it makes sense if you go into the Justice League and how he keeps an eye on everyone and whose powers, and I like he figures out a way that no matter what you guys do, I got one over on you, even though you have powers. So, with that being said, and I know marketing wise, they want to do a love thing, but it's because he's such a young Batman in this, shouldn't be having a relationship with no Catwoman. Like you know what I mean? Or not too far. Because he's a control freak. Like he wouldn't let his guard down and wouldn't want to trust anyone. And actually he would look at connections as being a weakness because his connection with his parents and being hurt so much, being close to them, he wouldn't want to be close to anyone else. At least not for a while. Now, if they do this and she dies and he shuts off, that would kind of make sense. But then I don't see Batman at that age getting so close to anyone. At least not romantically.
I could. Like you said, he's a control freak, so he has all. If he wants the romance or if he wants the attention from someone, he's going to get it because that's what he wants. And like so, being so tortured and not having full control over all those impulses that humans have, it's going to be interesting to see how Robert Pattinson deals with the trauma, the controls, and all this dynamics that we've been talking.
But would he risk it all just for a pretty face? I can't see him doing that. I can't see him doing that. And also, if you really go into it, which they kind of played with it a little bit, they didn't go too far because he's supposed to, be the playboy and I don't care about anything, so people won't realize how much he does care and how serious he is. He would work all that out as Bruce Wayne, and that's with the duality. Batman would not date anybody. Bruce Wayne would. Batman is like, you see what I'm saying?
Isn't that the allure of Catwoman? She also has the dual personality, so he's attracted to that. Someone that he can probably relate to. Like you present yourself one way during the day and one way at night, which is why she was so captivating, or why they're captivated by each other. It's interesting to see how
which version of Catwoman are they playing with? Is she the robber? Is she the? That would be interesting to know,
right?
Because based on what we're saying, there is a fork in the road on how you play her, that everything falls apart for him to get with her. If you stay true to Batman. So we'll see.
We'd have to wait and see.
I mean,
yes, we have to wait and see it when it comes out.
I get it.
So I have a question in the comment from Signal Dog.
Okay.
And he said, I'm not really excited. They kind of killed the series for him or her, whoever it is. So this is going to have to be really good for me to watch it. Question for the team. What does the team look forward to when it comes to superheroes? That's a very good question.
That's a very, very good question.
In order for us to look,
speak for yourself. He asked you.
No, I'm thinking of me. Like, in order for us to be, for me to basically be invested into that superhero character, they have to have a good villain.
So that's what you're looking forward to?
Yes.
Okay.
Because if you really think about it, in order for that character developed, they always had to have that villain that basically brings the best out of them.
Okay. Phoenix, what are you looking forward to in a superhero film?
I guess, like in a superhero in general.
No, film. That was a question, right?
I think just in general. What does the team look forward to when it comes to superheroes?
Oh, okay.
Oh, I love the character development and someone who's dynamic. Depth.
Well, he said look forward to. So the only thing I could think of either looking forward to a comic book, looking forward to a film or a series. So I will answer it that way, just based on exactly what was asked. And what I was looking forward to is something original. I look forward to just some original story and or an original take, staying true to the character. That's what I look forward to.
When it comes to superheroes, and I'm going to answer this question specifically on the character of the superhero, um, I like the moment or the tragedy where they have to decide, is this going to make me a hero or a villain? And so I like that dynamic. If that makes sense and it's very impactful and they choose to do good with that one experience, then I think that's the
I
perfect one.
like I like Corey's answer as well. Like that also makes sense. Like you have this power, or you had a traumatic situation. You have a choice whether you want to act out of violence, whether it could lead to you becoming a villain, or you going to act in a way where you're going to just be heroic in the sense maybe by accident or in general. So I like that kind of like that answer that Corey did too. Said,
Yeah, and if they
Yeah,
could put in the comments, what are they looking forward to?
yeah, answer that.
Yeah, that was a very very good question. Um, so yeah, so Moonlight. I haven't heard any conversation about Moonlight, and I haven't heard anything at this well for a while. I would say a good 3 weeks about Moonlight. Ever since
mhm.
one of the actors passed away from that, I haven't heard anything about
Oh
that film.
yes,
So are you guys still interested in seeing Moonlight, and have you heard anything on your end?
yeah, still interested. You know, I'm still invested into that Disney Plus series. You know, it's just I'm more intrigued of the character more than
Mm.
I think the product itself. Well, the product is the character, but it's just that I'm more intrigued of where they're going to go with it because we all know about the comic book aspect, but I want to know what Disney is going to set foot with because you're going into the dark version of Marvel with this character. And this character basically, and where you're going to go with this, because in the comic book, it's a whole totally different story compared to what Disney is going to do with this character, from what I found out.
Mm.
Is it on me or Phoenix?
Phoenix.
He's
Cause she,
just,
cause she went like this, like, yo, I got this, I got this.
No? Okay.
she ain't got that.
Oh, she's on mute. That's why.
Yeah.
Oh,
So this is not a long-winded answer, but I just watched Eternals like last week. I'm very late to the party. The introduction of some characters and how they're moving forward, I'm actually more interested for Moon Knight. So, what Marvel is doing in Phase 4 and connecting all these characters, I'm really,
yes.
really ready for it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Phoenix. You're off mute
I'm,
now.
I'm interested. Yes, I'm interested. I'm looking forward to watching it. So,
The most,
late to the party.
Oh, so you know what? Since you're a huge Batman fan,
Yeah.
what do you think about them making a Batgirl series?
I mean, it's not the first time it's been done. At least with the comic books, it's been some things like I like spinoffs. I'm down for it as long as it's done right and it's not corny.
Well, what'd you think of the
So,
Batwoman that they had that series? Do you think that was done right, or
it was okay. I mean, I wasn't in love with it. I wasn't like super enamored, but it was okay. So
it was kind of? I checked it out and I was like, oh, okay, I see where you're going with it. And then I just kind of like, okay, whatever. And then when I checked back in, they changed the Batgirl, the Batwoman. Sorry. And it was like,
yeah,
and then that episode was kind of weird. It was like, you know, I guess that was as smooth as they can do. Like, well, I guess she's dead, so now I'm gonna wear it and I'm gonna now I'm gonna be Batwoman and I'm gonna follow her path and I'm gonna live. I don't know. It was kind of weird.
Yeah. No, I'll give it a chance. Yeah.
We have an answer.
Oh, what's the answer?
So Signal Dog says, I look forward to the build of a strong superhero, one that has been able to travel between each universe and grow into having a strong superhero, but a much larger villain or a strong disability.
Interesting. I haven't been impressed with the villains lately. They've all been kind of like, yeah, I guess you're bad. I guess bad for the situation, but not memorable. I guess because like they're also trying to go through all their B and C and D listers, save their their big villains for the large films, I guess. Or whatever they can get the rights to, because that's a big thing too.
Right.
I think Dayveonne, you mentioned that a couple of shows back, or like, okay, well, now that I think you gave the example now that Disney bought a whole bunch of things back from Fox, we should see some cooler villains and heroes too.
Correct.
So,
exactly.
So we shall see. We shall see what's going on over there. Low battery, but how much more time do we have? Oh, I think it's time to tell everybody your social media. Yeah, time to do that. And I'll try to plug in the process. Let's see.
Okay. Dayveonne Bussey on IG, Facebook, Twitch. I mean, Jamal Williams on Twitch and Twitter.
That's when you have too many of the teams.
Exactly.
Phoenix Sparks _official on Instagram and Twitch.
I'm going to read the comment and then give to give Michael more time. So I'm stalling. Signal Dog says that villains are too easy. They need to come up with new scenarios or a much larger fight. A superhero who learns something from other superheroes to fight a villain. I get it. And you can find me, Corey Davis, at IamGT3 on all of the things. Did I stall enough, Michael? Was that good?
That was perfect. And Michael on IG, you're watching GEEKCASTER. Go to GeekCaster.com, GeekCaster on IG. Please tell a friend and like us, to subscribe and all that other good stuff on YouTube. And hit us up on, hey, you know what? I want to do some Choskies randomly on the show, like some old toys and stuff. And if you see anything you like, you can hit us up and you can buy it. But I got some cool surprises, like random. I found a whole bunch of Garbage Pail Kids.
Okay.
Random. I just sold some Visionaries today.
You did?
Random, yeah. And I should show what I got in return for that. But anyway, so shout out to St. Mark's Comics. Shout out to Phoenix Sparks. The one and only, the original Dayveonne Bussey, Corey Davis. I'm Michael Silver. Michael, you're watching GeekCaster. Thank you so much for joining us, spending some time. And to our Twitch family, we love you. And we're out of here.